Today I'm gonna show you how I made Way Out together with Reverse and Julia demos, and this is how it sounds like.
On my way out.
So the idea behind the track was made by Reverse and I made my own spin on it. So this is how it started. I started with this synth and this melody. And I made a melody around that chord progression. Which is already kind of indicating call and response in the drop. You can see this is the call and I'm gonna show you the response later. But yeah, this is the main synth. The preset itself is Chord Unami from my Secret and Sig Essentials free pack. And without any processing, it sounds like this. It's way different. So let me show you the whole processing behind it. First, we have two dispersers. They add a slight click to the sound. Then an EQ, which basically gets rid of the lows and some of the bass frequencies. We have another disperser. And here you can really hear what it is doing. And we have a couple of EQs, a bit crazy ones. Here I'm just basically shaping the sound, not mixing, just shaping the sound. As you can hear, it's already taking nice shape. Here I boosted some of the mid frequencies and also got rid a bit more of the fundamental one. Added the limiter just to get it a bit louder before I distorted it a little bit. And I added a kickstart. For some reason here, I don't know. It was just the process of making this sound. Then when we look at this chain, we have an echo boy, which is doing some very slight echo. So we get a bit more width into the sound. Then I have a delay, which I'm not really using here. We have an EQ to get rid of the lows. It's just a very slight one because the next one is doing basically the same. I was just shaping the sound as I went when I made the track. Also, we have a room reverb. And we have another echo boy, which I didn't use here, but it's a cool one. Cool preset tremolo delay. Then we have a serum effect where I'm using dimension with zero size and 30% mix. Just to get a little bit more width. And also I'm using a Valhalla room here that I'm automating in the drop. And another slight EQ for the fundamental. It's already sounding very good, but I continued on and I added a compressor. A delay which I used after the drop. An endless smile that I automated in the build-up. Then slight EQing as well. And this EQ also kind of shaped the sound a bit better. This is the processing behind the lead, and it's fairly complicated. I think it could be made much easier, but it was just the process when I made the track. And we can have a look on the automations because I try to make it less static here throughout the drop. And what I'm doing here, I have a macro set up that is modulating these volume LFOs. And I use them here just to make it a bit more moving, more interesting throughout the drop as well. Because without it, it's sounding a bit boring. Then I added the reverb automation I was talking about. Just fills up the gaps and makes it flow nicely. And that's basically it for the lead. But of course, it's not all. I added some layers, which are a couple sounds, which is doing the same rhythm as the lead. It just adds a bit of a different texture. It also has quite a bit of processing. Some EQs. Some heavy dispersing. A bit of room. Slight bit of distortion. And the Saturn, which makes it come alive. And also an OTT, because why not? Also use the has. I'm not really using it too much, but I think it fits it here because I didn't want the sound to interfere with the lead, so I made it stereo. And then we have this EQ, where I'm taming also the low mid frequencies so it doesn't get in the way of the lead. And then the second layer, which is a very slight one. I'm using this one just a bit for the attack. Yeah, so this is one layer and we got another one. This one is a very metallic one, and when we look at the preset of this one, We got two saways and they are being FM'd, but the main thing that's going on here is the reverb filter. When we turn it off, kind of get a basic saw, but when we turn it on, we get a lot of metallic sounds, which I think was pretty cool. And I just basically slapped on an OTT, some EQ to get rid of the lows, some disperser. I loved using disperser when I made this track, some more EQing to get rid of the lows, make space for the main lead. Then I routed it back to the bus of the lead, and together we got something like this. And also Reverse made this very nice reverb automation, which is a very nice detail. When we continue on, we have a sub-layer, which consists of two sounds. The first one is a sub I made from the chord, which is just basically adding second harmonics to the sound without any processing. As you can hear, I'm just doing filtering and heavy EQing in the highs, as I didn't want to have that many high frequencies. But we have another layer, which is one of my favorite presets to use. It's the bass Kirby sub from Secret and Sig Essentials 3. I basically just distorted it a bit and added an EQ to get rid of the lows and some mids. We do have some more layers of bass. And in the response part, we do have this Reese. Basically, it's a Reese where I just got rid of the lows and I didn't do anything crazy here. But what I wanted to show you is that the response in this track is this chopped up chord. It's doing the same shape of filtering as the Reese. Basically, this is just a resample part of the break, where I just chopped it up, added some shaper box too, which don't work anymore, but they just do filtering, nothing too crazy. Then we have a decapitator, another disperser, because why not? An OTT, an EQ. Now it's taking shape, and another OTT to get it a bit more loud. And when you listen to it in context, then let's have a look on the drums. There's quite a lot of layers here. So we have the kick, which consists of two layers. This is the main one, and this is just for some high end. We have a counter rhythm with the kick, so we get a bit more rhythm in the drop, because I felt it was a bit too static. It's very noticeable, but it's there. Then we have the claps. Then we have some hi-hats, some other drums, and also this very cool drum loop. Also added some details to the clap, just to make it sound a bit different every second hit. And we have some fills in here as well. We then have kind of a drone made from the vocal. When we look into some fills after each phrase, we do have some kind of nice fills made from the vocal. I made this little chain which turns the normal vocal into this one, and I'm basically pitching it up with a manipulator, adding a disperser, then I'm heavily distorting it. And the trick is to add the Valhalla room with minimum decay and maximum mix. It makes it a bit more smoother, and then I just kind of cleaned it up. Then we can hear as well that I made a switch in the chords. I just basically pitched them up one octave up, so we also accentuate some parts of the drop. We have this kind of fake out. Just a very old version of the main chord. I don't have any kick playing here because I wanted to make it a bit more less expectable. And also I'm using one of the most powerful instruments in music, which is silence. There's not a lot of stuff playing except a kick. And it makes the part after that hit even harder. So try to use a bit more silence in your tracks. Yeah, then we have a reverse kick with a little bit of some texture, which makes you like kind of suck back into the drop. In the second part, we do have some other sounds. We have a harmony. To progress the track even more, for the drums, there's a couple more drums coming in. One more open hi-hat, some percussion, some tambourine loops, some rides, just to keep the energy up. The drop ends on a high note here, where everything kind of melodically builds up. And it breaks down into the break. Let's continue with the first break. Here I gotta give credit to Reverse and Julia Temos. They did a fantastic job here. Julia did a great job on the vocals.
Sitting alone, I'm feeling sober. Inside a club with strangers everywhere.
Such a nice voice, I love it. We start the break with the drop melody. Which I think is always nice to do in your track, to introduce the main kind of idea behind the track to the listener. It basically hooks the listener to listen to the whole song. We have this chord progression, where we have a Reese, basic soul Reese with a bit of disperser. Then we have this kind of piano sound, which I just resampled into Serum. And the main thing that makes it shine here are the atmospheres. So when we turn them off, it's super dry. And this is what we get with atmospheres. It makes the breaks much more full, in my opinion. Then when we go to the other part, we have a slight transition, as also the vocal kind of changes the pace. For transition here, we use this pitch bend automation, which makes you come back to the root note. And then we have this very real vocal chop. Then after that, drums come in. I try to use some more ear candy drums here. I think they fit very nicely here, and I love the sound of them. Then after this part, we go into the build-up, where we have this nice riser from Reverse. Basically, we turn off the drums to get a bit less energy before the drop. We introduce the main melodies together with the drop sound, which is drowned in reverb. And yeah, basically, we just kind of let it build up using some effects, some sweeps, some build-up fills. Nothing too crazy here, very simple, and the pre-drop fill is very nice as well. And also what you can see here, we have a reverse into the drop with the drop synth. You can do this very easily. You can just resample any sound, for example this lead, then just press Ctrl R, accept, then Ctrl A, Alt and left arrow key, and you have a reverse. Super easy to do and very effective in tracks, and it saves me so much time. Yeah, basically then we go to the drop and we went over this. Of course, then we have the second break, so we transition from the drop to the second break. We have one bar of nothing, just the drop fading out, the delays come in, the reverbs come in to prepare you for the second break. And here we do have some more instruments. Yeah, I love this one, which is a very simple sound. It's just basically a saw wave, which is going through this comp LP filter, which makes it sound a bit more unique. And a bit glitchy as well. It's being just distorted, and then we just slap on some reverb and some shimmer. And then there's a lot of the same sounds that are in the first break. For these resampled sounds, what I like to do, I just like to take my chords and I just experiment with different synths, weird synths, and when I like them, I just resample them and see if I use them anywhere in the track. And this is the result of the search, basically all these resampled sounds. This is very similar to the first break.
Friends would rather talk about each other. Behind the others thinking they won't hear. Oh no, I'm not buying it. Oh no, I gotta find my way out.
And then we transition to this part where we have a bit more energy going as well. We have a kick coming in. And it plays together with the drums. We do have some more sounds. We have a guitar. As you can hear, we have a couple layers. First one is the main one. The second is just a plucky layer for more attack. The last two ones are just basically noises to make the guitar shine a bit more in the mix.
Oh no, I'm not buying it. Oh no, I gotta find my way out. I'll be a mountain taker. Yellow.
And then we have also this nice pad made with Quanta. I just basically used the vocal and I added a lot of grains, made the position random a little bit, and yeah, and that's it for the sound. Then we go into the second build-up.
I gotta find my way out. I gotta find my way out. I gotta find my way out.
We have this beautiful ad-libs from Julia. We have a couple of new sounds. It's just basically the pitched up version of the intro sound. Then we have also this chopped up chords, which I got from Imanu. And they just fit in the track. And then in the second part, all the drums come in. Just basically the same thing that we did in the first build-up, but we have a couple more effects here. In the second drop, we have a fake out where the kick doesn't play. I like to do this to switch it up a little bit. And also we have a bit of a fill to go back into the drop. So we basically have a tom fill. And that's super easy and super effective. And then to make the drop hit even harder, we added a crash to make it sound very full. And here I just started out with the open hi-hats and also some of the sounds that were in the second part of the first drop. And then the rest is basically the same. For the mastering, it's nothing special here. I just cut the low sides under 220 Hertz. Then I just added the limiter to make it louder. Nothing too fancy. I also like to use span to control and see how my song sounds like. And yeah, it's nothing too crazy here. Alright, so that's basically it for the walkthrough. If you enjoyed it, smack the like button and comment what you learned. And if you have any questions, comment down below. I'm gonna try to answer them all. And yeah, have a nice day and ciao.